I did not say I would provide you emails that disappeared. If you have a magical way for me to do that, I'd be happy to know about it.
Well, would it really take magic to find those vanished IRS emails, or just good search and technical skills? Isn't there a way the experts can use technology to track down the emails? Cybersecurity expert Morgan Wright joins us. Nice to see you, Morgan.
Hi, Greta. Good to see you again.
Morgan, do you buy it that those emails are gone?
Well, Jimmy Hoffa's gone, not these emails. So, no, don't buy it. They exist. Nothing ever dies in the digital world, so it's out there somewhere.
How would you find it?
You know, the first thing I would do, in fact, when your producer said, if you were in charge of investigating, what would you do? First of all, I'd take a stiff drink, and then I'd start lining up investigators and technical resources. I'd start putting, no pun intended, people on the record, getting their story down. System administrators, assistants to these all the 6 people, every BlackBerry, every hard drive, credit card receipts. Did they buy storage devices? Did they do this? I'd start collecting audit and access logs. All of these major systems have audit logs, access logs. Who touched them, who got into them, and what did they do when they were inside these systems? I'd start pulling this all together, because if the hard drives are truly gone, all you have left now is a paper trail.
Would you want their address book, their computer?
Everything.
Because to find out who they
Absolutely.
could possibly email?
So the day after Lois Lerner's hard drive crashed, I can tell you what happened when they put a new one in there. They pulled down from the Exchange server what was still in her inbox, what was still in her deleted, her sent. More importantly, what they pulled down from her BlackBerry and from her Outlook, the Exchange server, was her address book. Every name of every person that she's probably emailed is in there, and I'd send out a lead on every one of those and say, who's got this, what do you have, and go back that range of years.
And you could do that today, even though they say they've destroyed, recycled the hard drive or gotten rid of it. You could do that today.
The example would be is I take a...
Is that yes?
Yeah, you could go back and do it. If I used my iPhone and used Instagram to take a bunch of pictures and I posted out there on the internet, the fact that I lost my iPhone doesn't mean my pictures go away. They're still there. The hardware is really irrelevant at this point. We'd love to have it. What's out there is a digital trail of every email, address book, whatever else is out there. We can find this stuff.
So are they lying that they can't find it?
Well, it's the difference between can they find it or won't they find it. They won't find it because it's not in their best interest to find it right now. And I think they're not being credible.
That is, I mean, so you're incredibly suspicious of the IRS, right?
If one hard drive went missing, that's a major coincidence. When 6 hard drives go missing, that's a conspiracy. And if your 6 witnesses on a major prosecution disappeared the night before the case was supposed to go to trial, nobody in the right mind would believe that's just a tragic coincidence.
And the BlackBerries, I mean, a lot of viewers have written me about the BlackBerries. For some reason, that's different than your laptop?
Yeah, so on your BlackBerry, you're going to have your own address book. It can sync with the Exchange server, but it's going to have its own set of servers and own set of access logs. I want to know, where's the BlackBerry? She had that up until the day she left. Where is it?
And so there are a lot of, boy, that's stunning what you tell me. It's absolutely stunning because, you know, it sounds like they're crooked. It sounds like they're lying.
Well, it's a big mess because it's going to take a big effort to get through this big mess.
But it could be done.
It can be done. It just needs the will to do it.
And
the political will.
The political will. Morgan, thank you.
You bet, Greta.
And this week, all eyes were on the House Oversight Committee hearings. Chairman Darrell Issa leading the charge.
I subpoenaed you here tonight because, frankly, I'm sick and tired of your game playing in response to congressional oversight. You testified under oath in March that you would produce all of Lois Lerner's emails subpoenaed by this committee. Commissioner, at a minimum, you did not tell the whole truth that you knew on that day. We have a problem with you, and you have a problem with maintaining your credibility.
And Chairman Darrell Issa joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta. Thank you for your coverage of the impossible story of how everything seems to get lost if it leads to the truth.
Did you just hear Morgan Wright? Were you able to hear Morgan Wright, our expert, talk about finding these emails? Because that is quite damning for the IRS and anyone who says it's unavailable.
Well, you're exactly right. There's 2 sides to every email. Many of Lois Lerner's emails went to multiple recipients. A great deal of it can still be found. The reality is, what we learned in our last 2 hearings was that when they discovered they had lost the so-called crash drive, they had at least 6 months of backups. The commissioner himself and the counsel said they didn't try to recover them from those backups. The commissioner said it would have been expensive. You know, they would have you believe that this was so important that they sent it to a criminal lab to try to recover it, but then they weren't willing to simply run a backup tape.
All right. Now, you've sent a subpoena, I understand, over the FEC because there is at least a report that Lois Lerner improperly shared information, confidential taxpayer information, with the FEC. First of all, did you send a subpoena to the FEC, and is that information that I just said about sharing confidential information, is that correct?
They're both correct. We sent we asked for the correspondence and any records left back to 1986 when Lois Lerner became the head of the FEC. Greta, understand, we now have Lois Lerner as a criminal conspirator in this activity. We don't know who all she conspired with, but Ways and Means has already referred criminal charges. We, of course, held her in contempt for improperly not telling us the truth after she said things like, I didn't break any rules, I didn't break any laws. She broke rules, she broke laws, and it's very clear after the Grassley revelation, this is somebody who was trying to hurt people with her actions. She didn't always get away with it, like when she sent 1.1 million records to the Department of Justice hoping to get prosecutions against these 501c4s. It didn't always work, but she sure tried.
All right, the president says it's a phony scandal. He said there's not a smidgen of corruption. You've got a leak from the Department of Justice, the Wall Street Journal, no criminal charge to be brought. And you say that Lois Lerner is at least a criminal, is involved in a criminal conspiracy. So now what? Where does that leave you?
Well, it leaves us at odds with a president who initially said this was awful, he was going to get to the bottom of it, then turned it into yet another one of those, it's not a scandal and it's just Republicans. Well, it's not just Republicans. The reason 75%, 3 out of every 4 Americans are outraged and don't trust the IRS is because they shouldn't trust the IRS. The commissioner himself did not tell the whole truth in front of our committee when he knew there was a problem with these emails. He says he didn't do it, but his agency leaked to the White House months before we ever got told. And remember, Greta, you would not know about the additional emails if we hadn't got subpoenaed and gotten documents from the Department of Justice and then asked them on Monday, what about these documents? And on Friday, they bury in a report trying to say, oh, by the way, there's these lost 2 years of emails.
All right, one quick question. When's your next hearing and who are you going to call?
Well, we did not adjourn either of the 2 hearings we had, so we can recall either of those witnesses at any time. Right now, as your earlier interviews indicated, we're starting to go through depositions of professionals inside the system. If you look at the 61 questions we asked in the interrogatory, we did so we could figure out who it is we talked to get to the truth on these. Additionally, we have some more discovery subpoenas that will go out to try to recover more of these emails that Lois Lerner's and others did as they began their process of conspiring, if you will, to hurt conservative groups because of what they believed.
All right, just a real quick answer. Was Commissioner Koskinen, was he honest with you? Did he spin you or uninformed? What's the word you use?
He was disingenuous, which is a nice term, or in fact, he didn't tell the whole truth, which is what I said in front of the committee, and I believe he's probably one step short or shy of perjury, but he's certainly way past meeting his obligation as an officer of the court to tell the whole truth.
Chairman, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.
And you've heard him say it, President Obama calling all this just another phony scandal. And now you have to hear what the president said this time, and you will. And Representative Michelle Bachmann is here to talk about that. That's all next.